In 1993, Kia opened its first American dealership. Actually not one, but 4 of them. All in Portland, Oregon. The cars which were being sold was a sedan called the Sophia and a small SUV called the Sportage. They had one major selling point, that they were cheap. Cheap as and that was largely the sales pitch. Not performance, not technology, not design, just the lowest price possible. For the next decade, that's exactly what Kia was in America. The brand people bought when they couldn't afford anything better. And anyone who had options usually chose something else, like the Toyota Corolla or the Honda Civic.
Is often admired by other car makers. Some we know, some we don't.
But then, in 2006, Kia made a single hire that started changing everything. They brought in this guy, Peter Schreier, the man who had designed the Audi TT, and gave him control of the brand's entire design direction. Fast forward to today, and the Kia Telluride has made car and drivers 10 best list 6 years running. That means every year since it was launched. It has topped J.D. Power's initial quality study in its segment in 2025. US News rates it 9.5 out of 10, and it regularly outsells vehicles from brands that spent decades looking down at Kia. This is the story of how that happened, and what it took to pull off one of the most deliberate brand turnarounds in automotive history. To understand how far Kia has come, you need to know where it all started. And it started about as far from automotive industry as you can get. The company was founded in Seoul in 1944, making steel tubings and bicycle parts, that too by hand. And this was during Japanese occupation of Korea. Not exactly a glamorous origin story, right? But the name which founders chose tells you a lot about their ambition. Kia comes from 2 Korean characters, Ki meaning to rise and A meaning Asia, which means to rise from Asia. In 1952, they were building complete bicycles. And by 1957, motorcycles. By 1973, their first auto assembly plant. And in 1974, they launched Korea's first domestically produced passenger car called the Barissa, which was developed in partnership with Mazda. Over the following years, Kia kept building capability through partnership. They worked with Ford, producing several Ford-branded vehicles including the Ford Festiva, which was sold in South Korea as the Kia Pride. The Pride went on to become the first Korean car to reach 1 million units in production. But through all of this, Kia was still operating at low end of the market. Building under licenses, competing on price, and slowly accumulating the manufacturing knowledge, the plan was to establish first, improve later. The problem was that later kept getting delayed. And in 1997, it almost never came at all. The Asian financial crisis of 1997 hit South Korea with a force that's hard to overstate. Currency values collapsed almost overnight. Credit dried up across the economy, and companies that had looked stable for decades suddenly couldn't service their debts. Kia was one of the most prominent casualties. After 53 years of building itself from bicycle parts to car manufacturer, sadly they declared bankruptcy. What happened next was not a charity rescue, but it was a strategic calculation. Hyundai Motor Company saw an opportunity. By acquiring Kia, they could combine 2 of South Korea's largest automakers under one group, sharing engineering platforms, manufacturing capabilities, and global distribution to compete with Toyota, Volkswagen, and General Motors at a scale neither company could reach alone. In 1998, Hyundai acquired 51% stake in Kia, outbidding Ford, which had held an ownership interest since 1986. Kia kept its own brand, its own lineup, its own dealership network, but now it had access to Hyundai's engineering platforms, financial stability, and global reach. In hindsight, the bankruptcy was the only thing that made Kia's transformation possible. But as we all know, resources alone don't build a brand. Hyundai gave Kia the foundation. What Kia still needed was a reason for people to actually buy their cars. In 2006, Kia's leadership made a declaration that sounded almost strange for a budget automaker. They identified design as their core future growth engine, so they recruited Peter Schreier away from Volkswagen.
I thought this brand needs an identity and we need a design philosophy that carries us. So I made a drawing just with a simple line, and it is about the simplicity and the purity that I wanted to do, and we needed a form language and a way we did things that is recognizable. And this was the way I came across the idea to make a recognizable face.
He had spent over 2 decades at Audi. During that time, he was part of the team behind the original Audi TT design. When it was launched in 1998, was immediately recognized as one of the defining automotive designs of its generation. Car Design News later named the Audi TT one of the most influential automotive designs of the modern era. When Schreier arrived at Kia, he had a simple diagnosis for what was actually wrong. He described the existing car designs as neutral. You couldn't look at one and know if it was Korean, Japanese, or anything else. His solution was the Tiger Nose Grille, introduced at the key concept car at the 2007 Frankfurt Motor Show. It was a bold 3-dimensional grille that immediately created a recognizable face for every Kia on the road. Design changes perception. But in the US market, perception isn't enough on its own, particularly when you are trying to sell SUVs to American families. That is why the other major move Kia made in 2006 was just as important as hiring Schreier. They broke ground on a manufacturing plant in West Point, Georgia. $1 billion investment. It opened in 2009, making Kia one of the few foreign automakers building vehicles on American soil and at that scale. The practical benefits were significant. American consumers, especially in the SUV segment, consistently show preference for domestically assembled vehicles. Having a Georgia plant meant Kia's most important US models could be marketed as built-in locally. Beyond consumer preferences, the plant also gave Kia supply chain stability and insulation from currency exposure that had hurt them before. It was a statement of commitment. You don't just build a $1 billion plant in a market you are not serious about staying in. This was the message Kia wanted to give to the American consumers. By 2009, the structure was in place. Hyundai's engineering, Schreier's design direction, American manufacturing, and a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. A direct attempt to address the trust problem that still followed the brand. The components were all there. What Kia needed now was one product that brought them together. The Telluride. Launched for model year 2020, a 3-row mid-size SUV built in West Point, Georgia, targeting the segment where American consumers spend the most money and where brand loyalty runs deepest. It was a bold place for Kia to plant its flag. Ford had the Explorer, Chevy had the Traverse, Toyota had the Highlander. These are established names with decades of consumer trust built up over millions of sales. Well, the market didn't care about any of that. Nearly 94,000 Tellurides sold in the US in 2021, and the 2022 model was selling faster than any other vehicle in Kia's lineup. Kia internally nicknamed it the Telluride. Production at the Georgia plant was scaled up to 120,000 units a year to keep up with the demand. And soon after, the awards came quickly and kept coming. Car and Driver's 10 Best list 6 consecutive years. US News Best 3-row SUV for families 4 consecutive years. JD Power Initial Quality Study winner in its segment. A JD Power ALG Residual Value Award for 4 years running, meaning the Telluride holds its resale value better than most of its competition. The 2025 Telluride scored 9.5 out of 10 from US News. But beyond the numbers, the Telluride actually changed what Kia meant. Buyers weren't choosing it because it was the affordable option anymore. They were choosing it because reviewers, data, and other owners were all saying the same thing. It's simply one of the best SUVs in its class and at the price point. That shift from price-based to quality-based buying decisions was the whole point of the previous 25 years of work. If you take a step back from the full story, only 4 decisions explain what actually happened. The first was the bankruptcy itself, or rather what the bankruptcy forced. Without the 1997 crisis, Kia would have stayed small, underfunded, and technologically behind. The restructuring and the Hyundai acquisition created access to engineering and scale that Kia couldn't have built on its own fast enough to matter. The second was treating design as a genuine strategic priority. This sounds obvious in retrospect, but it required real conviction to execute. Hiring the person behind the Audi TT, committing to a consistent design language across every model in the lineup, and sustaining that commitment for nearly 2 decades even as the brand was still being dismissed in the market. The third was manufacturing in America. It gave Kia operational scale, local credibility, and stability to produce the volumes the Telluride demanded. Without West Point, Georgia plant, the Telluride story probably would have played out differently. The fourth was the warranty. 10-year, 100,000-mile promise that was really a direct answer to the brand's deepest problem. People who remembered cheap, unreliable Kias from the 1990s weren't just going to give the brand another shot on faith alone. The warranty made the decision feel safer. And when the claim stayed low over time, the trust which it was designed to create became real. 4 decisions, all reinforcing each other, all pulling in the same direction. That's what a brand transformation actually looks like when it works. The next chapter for Kia's story is being written around electric vehicles, and the ambition is significant. The EV9 launched in 2021 won the World Car of the Year award in 2022, a recognition that would have seemed impossible for the brand 2 decades earlier. Kia's current plan targets 1.6 million annual EV sales by 2030 across 15 dedicated electric models. The road ahead is harder than the road behind. The EV market is more expensive to develop for, more competitive at every price point, and more sensitive to shifts in consumer confidence than the combustion engine SUV market Kia built its comeback in. Battery cost, charging infrastructure, and real-world range anxiety are all genuine friction points. But Kia is entering that competition from a position they didn't have in 1993 or even in 2006. They have design credibility, manufacturing scale, strong residual value, and a customer base that chooses them for reason other than price. So that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, please subscribe for awesome content like this. And I will definitely see you in the next one.